Good morning, friends. I just finished doing an Instagram live with one of my mentors, and she's a beautiful coach. We just had an amazing conversation. If you guys want to go check it out, my Instagram is at @AubreyBar_storyteller. But yeah, she was asking me about what I do for my clients and the kinds of projects I'm working on now and what I love to help people with. And the funniest thing happened, I came to a realization that pretty much everything I do is under this one umbrella. So I'm so excited to dive into that with you guys today. And I'm hoping this conversation will help you to open up to the possibilities that are out there when you put this one thing first. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hey friend, welcome to Deep Healing for Creative Entrepreneurs. My name is Aubrey Barr, and I am a subconscious release technique practitioner and photography business owner. I know you are sick of ending your day feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, and you are seeking a solution to help you feel creatively inspired and actively engaged in your business as well as personal life. In this podcast, we are going to dig into any limiting beliefs or subconscious programs that are keeping you in a space filled with anxiety and stress. This work is not a temporary solution for your life. No. This is a complete transformation. So grab your coffee or tea and let's start you on the road to healing. And let me just say, you can do this, you are worth it, and you are meant to thrive in life and business. So let's dig in. So I'm chatting away this morning and we're talking about creative blocks, and we're talking about spiritual mindset and intuition and all of these wonderful things that I love to talk about. And not only do I love to talk about them, but it is something that's in my content a lot. It's something that people find me because I use these words. So it was rather interesting that when it came down to it, she asked me, how do you have the audacity to post what you post and to talk about what you talk about? Because there is so much out there where people are wanting to, discredit. They want to discredit your experience. They want to discredit, especially energy work. If you're someone who is involved more in the energy or spiritual side of things, people want to look at that and say, there's no science here, there's no logic. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So it was a really great question, but I realized that I have the audacity and the confidence to talk about such matters because of the experiences I've had. And especially with my clients, that's number one, but also with myself, right? I have not always been super open about things. I've not always been somebody who can talk openly about anything like this, even intuition. Like I would shy away from any real in-depth conversations where I felt like people were able to see me more, right? That was one of my stories. You guys know this if you've been listening for a while. One of my stories always was, I don't want them to see me, right? So I've not always been good at this. And now she was complimenting me because I put so much out there of myself, and I'm not afraid to say what my opinion is and to really dive into, the thought process behind a lot of my opinions. When you deal with these traumas and generational issues and money mindset and all of these things, people have a certain idea about them, and nobody wants to hear an opinion about these topics that is so different from their own that they haven't even thought about it before. They've never really contemplated that being in a victim mindset is actually making their lives worse or whatever it could be. So it was just a really interesting conversation. And I had to say, when it comes down to all of the things that I'm helping clients with, all the things I talk about on the podcast for you guys and in my group, every single thing that we talk about comes down to self-love. This is a massive topic for me. This is literally the umbrella in which I do all of this work is around loving yourself. And I know that that sounds, well, let's put it this way. A lot of people will hear that and think, well, I love myself too, so I obviously don't need help with this. Or, well, I've learned to be more confident because of XYZ, and now I'm just in a lot better place. Like, that is probably true, and I'm not discounting that at all. But when we're working with the subconscious mind, there is far more deeper levels to work on when it comes to self-love than anything. So there's a lot of our programming that is around feeling unworthy or undeserving. And meanwhile, your day-to-day life, you may not necessarily recognize that as an issue. You might think, yeah, overall, I'm doing okay, right? You might think that everything is fine, but sometimes something comes up. Sometimes I have to take a break away from my creative endeavors because I'm feeling creatively blocked and I'm not feeling like I produce anything that has any kind of impact on the world, right? This, it kind of sounds like a normal feeling that most of us would go through at some point in life, but there's a very big possibility that there's actually some programs underlining there. And everybody knows that's listening to this that we go through these waves of kind of being in a rut, and we go through waves of maybe not making as much money and waves of just feeling underappreciated by our clients, or, situations where we're getting cancellations left and right. I hate to be the one to say it, but I don't hate it at all, because the reality is that a lot of these things are responding to our mindset. They are responding to the vibration that we're putting out in the world. And it's so easy to gloss over that and say, yeah, but I'm fine. And mind you, there is nothing in any of the work that I do or anything that I say that should tell you that you need to complain about everything, or that you have to look deeper on every single level of issue that you're having. Like, there's nothing about this work that says that. But, however, there are obvious negative thought patterns that are coming up when these things continue to happen. So if you are in a rut, and you've been in a rut for 2 weeks, and you're not able to, finish editing, or you're not able to, do this one-off job that you've been putting on the back burner, right? There could be something else there. And it's a good opportunity to say, okay, what is really going on in my mindset that is causing me to stall, procrastinate, focus on perfectionism, whatever it could be. So that is the message, that there has to be something in there in your subconscious that is telling you that you're not good enough, or telling you that you should have issue with this, or it shouldn't be this easy. That's another one. And all of this comes down to self-love. When we are at a place where we truly accept and are welcome to our own self-criticism and forgiving ourselves and giving ourselves grace, we are absolutely at the point of just feeling totally free about our self-image. And that is really the place that I like to get people to. And so when I talk about my program, sometimes I'm like, yeah, we do 2 weeks of self-love, which is totally true. I can't remember what week it is, but I think it's like week 11 and 12. It's called Self-Love Part 1 and Self-Love Part 2. And we talk about body image, and we talk about all the things you love or hate about yourself. And we release all those programs around it. But in reality, when you really break down every single part of the program and the work that I do, it all comes back down to self-love. And so even though there's these individual modules, it really isn't seclusive to those weeks. It's everything. Like, for instance, when we deal with releasing fears, that's like the 3rd week. We deal with releasing fears. I mean, that is a lot about self-love, like trusting yourself enough to feel whatever it is you feel in the moment, but not allowing yourself to obsess over it and therefore cause you to be in a place of non-self-acceptance, right? There's also a week on childhood trauma, and this has a lot to do with generational stuff and things that have been passed down to us. And when you really think about that, the reality is that we were all once little children. And when we look at that little version of ourselves, we have to be able to say, you know what? I know you're not perfect. I know you made mistakes here. I know you don't like that decision you made, but I love you. And you're totally capable of receiving love and giving love. So there's a whole level there that's absolutely about self-love and acceptance. We forget that though. We really want to glaze over a lot of this and just assume that it's either not important or that it doesn't have any relevance outside of what the actual situation is. But the reality is that yes, imposter syndrome does have relevance. It does have a root in self-love and self-acceptance that we're glossing over. And so, yeah, I guess my message today for you guys is to be open to the fact that even though you may have had some really big, amazing things happen to you lately, you may have accomplished things. Maybe you've just lost 100 pounds. Maybe you've finally felt like you're accepted as you are. And maybe you're letting your gray hair grow out and not worrying about dyeing it or whatever it is. Like, yes, there is a portion of that is absolutely based in loving yourself and being accepting of that. But there could be other things going on a subconscious level that you haven't been able to address yet. And how much better would life be if you were able to address that? If you were able to tackle those things that are showing up in your business that you can't seem to get rid of, right? You can't get away from it. Maybe you're not attracting clients to your business right now. If that's the case, it could be because you're not giving yourself forgiveness. There's just so much there that requires us to ask questions about our self-love. So I want to invite you today to dig a little deep and see what you come up with when it comes to these things. Because in all reality, even though this is something that I help people with, the best way to get down to the root of things is by digging into your own intuition and start acknowledging that there may be some things you can work on there. And also give yourself grace in the meantime. Because if you're not forgiving of yourself, then nobody else is going to be forgiving of you either, right? So what I want you to really understand about this is that you all have the ability to really tap into that side of you and be able to come up with these answers on your own. I firmly believe that. I've been able to do that myself, but also with some other help, no doubt. I did get some other help from other coaches and stuff. But in the end, you're the one who knows what is right for you. You're the one who knows if you're holding on to something. But yes, you might need some direction, and that's what I'm here for. 100% feel free to reach out if that is you. But I just encourage you to really get to know yourself a little bit better and see what may be causing a roadblock in your life when it comes to self-love. All right, guys, have a beautiful weekend. I will see you again next week. And please remember to like and share this. If you feel so inclined, I would love to get a review from you. I'm going to go back to reciting some of the reviews I get because they're so beautiful. I just want to share them with everybody. So I super appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon. I hope this podcast spoke to you in some way. If it did, please go ahead and leave me a review and subscribe so that I know you're enjoying what you hear. And further, if you know somebody else who owns their own creative business and struggles with anything that we spoke about, please pass this on, because it is my hope that we will be able to build a community of like-minded individuals who love on each other and appreciate the many facets that make our creative business so unique. And lastly, check out the show notes to find my free Facebook community and other useful links to work with me. All right, friend, see you soon.